La Dolce Vita. What a pleasure speaking to Angela Santi. She's from Bologna. La Dolce Vita is a movement, an Italian movement right after the World War, to take some time off, take some what she calls never postponed pleasures, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. And she's taken it to the business level where she trains and helps with culture and American businesses on how to really, stop and smell the roses. This is near and dear to my heart as my father is an Italian immigrant. I was sent there at age 10. I spent many, many summers there and understand the culture. And it's really made a big difference in my life. I think it could help others as well. She's got really, really interesting perspective on discipline. Southern Italy is different from northern Italy, where southern Italy is kind of known for not doing or doing a little less. And, you would think that not postponing pleasure and doing these things doesn't take discipline, when in fact, it takes more. Instead of staying and, working for 10 hours, just take 10 minutes to walk away and go outside and have a coffee. And her take on, by the way, on Starbucks is quite interesting if you don't know the kind of the Italian view on that. But great conversation with Angela Santi. I really enjoyed it. I hope one day to meet her face to face there in Bologna, northern Italy. But you're really going to enjoy this. The views of La Dolce Vita on American business and the challenges. It's a great conversation. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business and it lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission: how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family, in their passion, in their careers, and how it helped them. Our podcast vision: growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. My father is from Caserta.
Ah, okay. Here's the trick.
Yes, yes, it is. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for doing this. How are you, going to marry the best of what Italy has to offer, la dolce vita, right? The sweet life and, American business, entrepreneurism, innovation, because they both have weaknesses and they both have great strengths, but to marry them would be a powerful combination.
Yes, this is my, you know what? This is my mission. This
Yes.
is my mission because Italians are too La Dolce Vita and the other ones are too. So if we find the sweet spot, this will be amazing. Let me just close my Outlook so that I don't have the notifications.
Remove
Okay.
distractions. Yes.
Yeah,
How,
remove distractions.
yes.
Yes.
How very Italian. Yes.
Yes, this is very Italian. Yes, and let's go.
Yeah. How do you do it? How do you, I know that's your mission, but I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yes, it is. So I do that with my programs, my consulting and coaching programs. So are you recording? Yes. So
I am. I'm
I
recording.
yeah, I do with two. I work one on one with my clients. I select the clients, and I select the clients that are the best fit for me, meaning they must be rebellious, ambitious, heart centered, coachable, and willing to go all in. Otherwise,
Mm.
it's not gonna work. And I work with them on two different levels, meaning that I like to start with a blueprint, an intensive, where we assess where they are and I give them a roadmap to go on. And what I really believe into is to start working on the superpowers, making superpower even stronger, and then start working on, like what they call the weaknesses, that I don't like to call weaknesses, so to improvement opportunities. Then, if we want and if we like, we can go on and work for like a month, 3 months, but for a short period of time. So this is it. And we're starting from the end.
That's okay. I want to get right into it. So, when you're working with business owners in the West here in the States, I'm in New York, and what is the biggest pushback that you get when introducing this kind of a Italian philosophy and theory?
Ha. So the Italian philosophy basically is, so in a nutshell, la dolce vita. So let's go back to la dolce vita. So enjoying
Yes.
life, acquiring. So la dolce vita is a way of living, but most of all, it's a mentality.
Hmm.
And it's the ability to be super committed on the one hand and super lighthearted to the other, and to never postpone pleasure. So when one of the most important thing is to alternate idleness, and I'm saying, like, what is idleness? This is a word that we American refuse because it's such a bad word,
Yeah.
and hard work. But I tell you, this comes from the ancient Roman Empire, when they were alternating what they called otium, not doing, enjoying, contemplation, being in nature, staying at the spa, doing things that you like, with negotium. And of course, they weren't in business during the Roman Empire, but they were like fighting in battles at war. They were too busy conquering, all Europe and also
Hmm.
the Eastern world. And they were also very busy doing all these political, like things impacting society. And they were so smart that they understood that working 24 hours a day is not going to work, because you need to be you need, if you want to think out of the box, if you want to make the right decisions, you want to gain perspective, you want to be centered, you want to be in your full power. And if you are in burnout, what are you going to do? It's impossible.
Hmm. You mentioned one thing that I couldn't help but write down: never postpone pleasure. I mean, that seems like a cliff. Seems dangerous. No?
Yes, but yeah, this is dangerous, but this is very Italian. You know what? Pleasure can be 5 minutes.
Right.
Who's, because, what is pleasure? Yeah. You know what? Maybe sometimes you have schedule, something, you have a program, but since maybe you didn't take your energy into consideration, uh, you can't do it, and it's like, I'm trying to achieve something, but I'm too tired, I'm too distracted. And maybe, basically, you are postponing things by taking on all the distractions. Then you have the
Mm.
excuse, because I was too busy, all the people were interrupting me. Okay. So you feel you're at ease with your conscience. You don't feel guilty because you were super busy, whereas you would have felt busy if you were just like enjoying. So why keeping you busy with all the distractions? So when you can utilize this time for going outside, having a cappuccino in a beautiful cafe instead of a very bad Starbucks jar of terrible coffee in front of a computer while feeling miserable because you're not getting done what you're supposed to get done. So go outside, have fun, walk around the block, chat with somebody. I don't know, do something that lights you up and then go back. This is La
Mm.
Dolce Vita and this is pleasure. And then you're, yes.
Everything sinks. So I was exposed to, Italian culture at a young age. I mentioned my father's an Italian immigrant. He's from Caserta, which of course is south of Rome, north of Naples. So at 10 years old, after third grade ended, first day of summer vacation, he handed me a suitcase, says, put your clothes in here, brings me to the airport and here's a picture of your grandmother. You're going to meet her in Milano. So at 10 years old, I flew, met my grandmother, my uncle. I spent 2 weeks in Lugano in Switzerland, and then
Mm,
in 8 or 9 weeks down there in Caserta. So I would spend every other summer there. And so I got exposed to, the culture and how things were. And it reframed the way I work and even talk to my friends here. But Angela, there are just I mean, the South is kind of known for kind of not doing, right? I think you would agree, Southern Italy, but there's just so many culture differences, what you just mentioned now about pleasure. I mean, it's just so different. Everybody goes to Starbucks here. Everybody gets the big coffee in front of their computer. I don't know if you could ever change that.
if they like it, in Italian, I don't want, I don't mention to offend anybody, but we call this
Right.
coffee dirty water. And all the Italians that go to America are looking forward to drink the first cappuccino or real coffee when they come back at
Right.
the airport, the Milano
Right.
Malpensa airport.
Right. Yeah.
No, but I'm just kidding. You know what? Yeah, you said something which is very true and very important, but I would also want to acknowledge that Italians are hard workers because we
Mm,
don't have to forget, that all the immigrants that from Italy came to United States, they came there to work and they are hard workers. The main
absolutely.
difference between the Americans, and then there is also a difference between the Italian, the Southern Italian and the Northern Italian that I would,
Yes.
well, first I say that Northern Italian are probably more similar to the New Yorkers
Mm,
because the more you go north, the more people are devoted to work. The place where I live, which is Bologna, it's in the north, but it's not as north as Milano, not as close to Switzerland where they are super square and the German Protestant, all
yes.
that. We have a unique way to combine creativity, productivity, and La Dolce Vita. Just think of the brands, the successful Italian brands, say something, like just to mention some: Ferrari, Armani, Lamborghini, Prada, many of them they're super successful. They have like racing teams. The Prada have this sales boat team, like for the Americans Cup and all that. So they never ever ever forget La Dolce Vita because they know that La Dolce Vita is the fuel for creativity and for productivity. So uh and so the difference that I've noticed with the American between the Americans and the Italians is that this Protestant mentality, as opposed to the Catholic mentality, is like you can be saved only if you work hard. The Latin mentality is there is a way to find salvation, your salvation, which
Mm.
we can find turnarounds and we can discuss it, so you're not forced to work all the time.
I never made that connection between, the Catholic and the Protestant. That really, because you can be saved just when Jesus, was dying, he said to the person next to him, you will be saved, right? And he was found guilty. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I never made that connection. But I don't want to keep harping on this, but so again, my father's from Southern Italy, and you mentioned they're not known to be as hardworking as the North. I guess it's a safe way to put it. But one quick story that maybe will help the listeners. So my two cousins, they worked for the town. My father's from a small village, and Franco and Antonio, right? So Frank
Mm-hmm.
and Tony. So it was Monday, and I saw them, and they weren't working. And I said, "Well, why aren't you working?" I said, "Well, oggi piove." Right? So it's raining today. We don't work when it rains. I don't know. They work outside. I don't remember what they did. Tuesday it was raining again, so they didn't work. I remember Wednesday was a beautiful day, and I said, "Why aren't you working?" And they said, "Well, we never begin the week on a Wednesday."
Of course.
So this this is completely foreign to the mentality here. So how do you bridge that gap, Angela? That's a very wide margin.
Yeah, there is a gap, and my I think it's very interesting to find the sweet spot between this
Mm,
go 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 and the too much dolce vita, because really, admittedly, sometimes some people, some Italians, some island, or people that live in a country with a wonderful weather, and when the weather is wonderful, you don't want to sit inside in front
right.
of a computer, so it's like, ugh, like slaving yourself in your chair. um I think that when an American understands that they can let go a little bit, and they have to do it, like biting in small pieces, trying to let go, be gentle with yourself, and also putting boundaries, setting boundaries. You say, okay, this is, I will start working at this time. Let's make it as an experiment. You know that you can change it anyway. You want to change it, you can do it. So make it as an experiment. So you start working at a certain hour, and you decide to stop working at a certain hour. And
Mm,
at that hour, it's very important, before you have scheduled some dolce vita time with your friends, or with whatever you want to do. You can also do like playing squash if you're playing, whatever you can do. I
mm,
mean, so when you have this dolce vita time, and the discipline is to respect the dolce vita time,
mm,
once you have this, you want to really work in a way that enables you to be super productive, and you can do it, and then have the time to go outside, enjoy your day and your 2 hours, your half hour, whatever. And I really want to challenge you to try and tell me, the following day, what is the energy that you're bringing to your workplace. You have much more energy if you are working, and I did it for a part in my life. I was working for my family business in the car industry, luxury car, super cool, this
mm,
boys club. And I wanted to show up as the, like better than the boys, because I am a woman, and
mm,
that. And I was pushing, 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 and I was super successful. But everything was amazing on the outside, but on the inside it was miserable, because I was just working, I was commuting, I was really giving up all the things that lighted me up. So
mm,
if you think about it, why did you give up your hobby? Why did you give up your passion, just for work, work, work? So of course, if you work in corporate and you are not one of the decision makers, it's not that easy. But if you
mm,
are one of the decision maker, you can change it. And what I am developing now is I'm taking the Dolce Vita lifestyle concept even further. So it's the Dolce Vita leadership style and the Dolce Vita working environment. So in the United States, more than anywhere else, the great resignation is a thing. We
mm,
also have great resignation in Italy as well, but it's not as great. It's a small resignation, not really a great resignation. Okay. So so the thing is that everybody knows that people during the pandemic has understood the value of life, the value, how much they were missing when they were working like slaves, permit me to say that, sometimes it's true,
Mm.
outside their homes, and they have rediscovered a whole new dimension. So what do you do as a leader to retain talents? Because you know what, it's talent, the talents go away because they can find other opportunities, and the non-talents, which I can't come to the English word now, are staying in the company. So what do you do?
Hmm.
So when you are a Dolce Vita leader, you lead, you have to embody la Dolce Vita in your life first, so that you can walk the talk, and you understand that the way you show up at the workplace determines your company culture. So you have to be the first one who walks the talk. First thing. The second is create a human centric culture. Connection. Italians are known for connecting all the time. We say chatting with the stones, because every time we go somewhere, we like to talk with this person, and we know the person at the bar, and we chat with everybody. So we're never alone. We always have this. So when you connect from a heart-centered place, from a genuine place, people that are around you can feel it, and they feel heard and seen. So when you make them feel heard and seen, when you empower them, you delegate more, and there is a whole lot of things to say, you know but that really makes the difference. And it takes just 5 minutes, like to ask something personal, be curious about their lives, and let them be, of course, within structure. And since we talk also about discipline, I have this mantra, which is discipline is freedom. So within structure you can be flexible. Structure and discipline allows you to be freer, to have more free time. And you also have to be very disciplined in setting and respecting your boundaries, in being free, in
Mm.
respecting your Dolce Vita lifetime. So, when you create this culture of discipline and of freedom inside the discipline, you really can shift everything in your workplace, and you can create the sweet spot between all the things that are typical of the American. And I was joking before, I really admire Americans for like, and this is one of the reasons why I decided to expand my impact overseas, because Americans are very committed to what they do. Italians sometimes, like now, are like complaining because there is a crisis, because there is a pandemic. So what can you do?
Mm.
This is the downside of the La Dolce Vita, because we're so used to La Dolce Vita that when we cannot have La Dolce Vita, it's a tragedy.
Mm. You said so much there. I want to start with when you when you're talking to specifically, American business owners, entrepreneurs. What is the big resistance? I mean, do you say you should devote X amount of hours to being going outside La Dolce Vita, and they say, no, I don't want to do that much, or no, that's not necessary? I mean, do they adopt it? Do they like it? What obstacles do you find?
They're skeptical. The first thing that I do is to ask them to schedule La Dolce Vita time as a priority in
Mm.
their not in their week, in their days. And again, it can be 5 minutes, as small as 5 minutes, just to get the habit. And they say, yeah, but I don't have time, it's impossible, it's not necessary. And
Mm.
but so if it's impossible, and if it's not necessary, why are you here?
Hmm. Very
So
interesting.
you have to, yeah, you have to trust it, to trust La Dolce Vita. And again, we have this image that La Dolce Vita is also, like this luxury and, of doing nothing for such a long time. Again, this is not. You have to define what La Dolce Vita means for you. It's exactly like success. There is no one single definition for success, no cookie cutter definition. The same thing is for La Dolce
Hmm.
Vita. Just find out what is it for you.
You mentioned how Italians like to talk in cafes. They speak to the stones. All my cousins and aunts and uncles. They just love to talk and debate. With each other. How has social media played a part in La Dolce Vita in Italy? I wonder because that really removes the face to face and kind of doesn't make you accountable.
Yeah, this is true. It removed the face to face. It's yeah, I think that it was a little bit, social medias are a bit detrimental for La Dolce Vita in a
Mm,
way,
mm,
but on the other hand, they have Italian have rediscovered all, and maybe all the Americans, I don't know, and I'm asking you, I'm curious, your schoolmates from
mm.
like nursing school, from elementary schools, and all that, and then we are connecting outside, the social medias in the real world. And here it's very easy because Italy is small, so everybody is in town, and so yeah, it's also been fun. But a thing that I would like to tell you about La Dolce Vita is, during the pandemic, one thing that for me was amazing, we were all inside, of course, so some people started to go on their house balcony outside, to eat outside. It was March 2 years ago, and the weather was amazing. So we were having lunch outside, exchanging things with the other, the people that live in the same building, singing outside, and really creating an atmosphere of joy when, it was very difficult to talk about joy, and it was
Right.
challenging for everybody, but we tried. So this is something, again, this is very Italian, and this is finding La Dolce Vita within yourself and bringing it outside.
Yeah, I remember watching the videos of that. It was heartwarming. It was wonderful. Um, You mentioned the Great Resignation. So we have a big issue here in the States now, where, people left their jobs. They found that during the pandemic, they really didn't like it. So now they want to go to jobs that are challenging for them, that offer that, that perhaps they could work from home. And I think adding La Dolce Vita, this kind of, you know, smell the roses a bit, add that, increase the culture, is going to happen. It's necessary, and it's going to be needed in this great resignation more than ever.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I tell you, for me, La Dolce Vita could also be work from home.
Hmm.
So, and of course, there have to be rules, boundaries, and yeah, but it's really La Dolce Vita is really finding a way to live, lead, and work in alignment with who you are, what you want, that brings out the best of yourself.
Yeah, well said. And of course, by the way, La Dolce Vita, a Fellini film where the men in Rome, they were gallivanting, wonderful film, and it just kind of uh, coined that phrase. And you mentioned discipline many times, and I think it's easy, when people hear the story that I just mentioned about my cousins, not want to start the work week on a Wednesday. You say, well, how undisciplined. In fact, I think it's just the opposite. The way that they prioritize their family and prioritize, like you mentioned, pleasures, even if they're really small. Overworking, I think, takes more discipline, takes more of a concerted effort. It's very easy to kind of slip into your job and forget about everything else. And I think that's what a lot of Americans do here. But I feel it's much, much more discipline is needed. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I just want to say a quick thing about, because you mentioned the Fellini movie. So the
Yeah.
Fellini movie gave the name to this movement, I would say, like mentality. Where La Dolce Vita came is from the Italian economic boom after the Second World War, which
Ah,
is a parallel, can be seen as a parallel from the New Deal, the American New Deal after the
right.
Great Depression. So everybody was working, they were enthusiastic because they were reconstructing society, and it is something that we're doing now if you think about it. So they were working hard to rebuild Italy, but they also wanted to enjoy life after so many years of darkness, because of the war. So as you said again,
Hmm.
yeah, there it is very easy. And then coming back to what you were saying, it is very easy to go to work and be on autopilot
Mhm.
and just go there and do head down, work, work, work. Whereas it takes a lot of discipline to prioritize yourself, your family, your health, your energy management requires a lot of discipline. And also, like not taking pride on this, I work for 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, I feel so cool. It's quite the opposite. So when you work hard, too hard, I mean, working hard is normal. If you have a project, you can do this sprint and work hard. But on a day by day basis, it's not sustainable. And this is what why I advocate La Dolce Vita. On a day by day basis, you have to find a way that really allows you to live and to get all this energy, and what really lights you up and that fuels what you're doing. Otherwise you're just a piece of a machine. You're not a human.
Yeah, that's terrible. You reminded me of, I remember having dinners with my relatives there in near Caserta, and they would ask me how many hours do you work a week, and I was starting my business, so I was saying 50, 60, and they put their hands down. There's no wonder you have gray in your hair. What are you doing? How can you, treat yourself like that? You've got to, prioritize. And I know you come from a very structured family. Your father is a successful business person. You mentioned working for the family business. Was discipline always something that was talked about and learned in your household?
Mhm. Interesting question. Well, in a way, yes, but I also had the opportunity, and I was so lucky that since I was very disciplined as a person myself, I behave in a very disciplined way. I
Hmm.
also had the opportunity to do things that were completely outside discipline. So I started traveling by myself when I was 11 years old in the 70s, which was
Wow.
quite unusual for a girl at that time.
Yes.
I used to spend months in the United States by myself at 16 years old when I was in my teens, just learning English and the culture and all that, and traveling by myself for adventures. And my family trusted and knew that I was so disciplined that I would never do things that were, like too crazy. I mean, some crazy things I've done, but up to a point, always within the structure. So I've always played between, like discipline and freedom. And up to a certain point of my life, I was like, am I like the lady, like super disciplined, and or am I this, I have a like a rock, the rocker is in my heart. So, or am I more on the other side? I like to say that if I were a movie, I were a mixture between Breakfast at Tiffany's and Easy Rider. So now I've embraced those two opposites and I'm playing with them. So you can put me in a at the yacht club, the New York yacht club, yachting club, and I'm perfectly at my ease. And you can put me with the I don't know, the some riders like Harley Davidson, Hells Angels, no problems at all, and I will have fun with them.
Wow. Wow.
Exactly. Like the same way. So it's really the ability to play, to know yourself, to play within your boundaries and limits, and exploring things. And I tell you that the hard work mode, too hard, is a comfort zone in a way.
Mm.
So be so brave as to explore what is out of your comfort zone and try do nothing. Try to do something that is very different from what is your identity. You identify in this hardworking person. So why don't you take off your mask and wear another mask, a different mask?
Wonderful.
Mm?
Absolutely. Because I remember when I started my business in the 90s, I was working very long days. And then, next thing I know, I had gained all this weight and I was unhealthy. And you use it as an excuse. Well, I don't have time to work out because I'm working, or I don't have time to eat well, and I don't have time to play tennis with you, or play soccer with you. I'm working, and they use it as an excuse when your health and your well being is should be more important than all of that.
Yeah, exactly. And your health and your well-being are your assets. So those assets are what makes you being able to work in the long run, because this, I would call it toxic hard work, because there is
Mm,
also a healthy hard work. So the toxic hard work is the motorway to burn down, to burn out. It's not the motorway to success, it's the opposite, and you're not realizing it. And you know what? Probably you reach success, the outer, cookie cutter success, and you have no friends, no family,
mm,
no interest outside that. No, you are miserable, your health is terrible, you have to take pills and drugs and everything, to keep you awake, and then you have to take drugs and pills and I had to go to sleep. And then
mm,
it doesn't make sense. And life is one, life is short, and yeah, just live it to the fullest in a healthy way, and find this, I wouldn't call it balance, I would call it find your way to make it the best.
hmm. Do you find that when you're working with entrepreneurs or with American businesses, that for them to truly understand Dolce Vita, they need to come to Bologna for a week, or they need to come to Italy for a week to kind of experience it?
I feel so. And as a matter of fact, those who understand it quicker are the people that came to Italy for a vacation, and
Mm,
they really enjoyed this atmosphere, because explaining La Dolce Vita is challenging in a way, because if you've never experienced it, you sort of understand it, but not to the heart, to the heart of it, not to the fullest. And I know that you can understand it because you come, by the way, Caserta is such a beautiful, with the reggia and
yes.
amazing. And they have a great lifestyle, like, mm, very nice, elegant people, and
Mm,
they have an interesting way of living. So you
yes.
get it. But those who never been to, I wouldn't even say to Italy, but to Europe, probably making a trip to Italy would be a great thing. So one other thing that I would like to, and it's in my here, to organize when the pandemic things are over. And you never know in Italy, because we have one of the most unstable government in the world. So
Mm,
today they decide one thing and tomorrow they decide another thing. So
mhm,
when things are stabilized, I would like to create retreats here in Italy to live La Dolce Vita. And I'm also proponing, and so I want to test drive this, is you take, say, 2 days of holiday. You're from New York, in New York. You book a hotel in New York, you leave everything outside, you keep your phone shut,
Hmm.
and we create together a Dolce Vita program for you. And you work with me few hours, then you go enjoy your La Dolce Vita, then you come back, tell me what happened. So this makes you really walk the talk and understand what it means. And you don't have to come to Italy. Of course, if you come to Italy, it's even stronger because you feel the Dolce Vita everywhere.
Yeah, Angela, I have to confess that, even before, I was, waiting for to talk to you, I was thinking to myself, boy, if she's from, Caserta, where my father's from, a time is just a suggestion. But I was like, well, she's from Bologna, she's going to be on time, and you were right on time. But so just the thought of, it's just so different there. It's so different there, just the way they kind of do everything. I feel that you need to be there, but that I'm jaded because I spent a lot of time there, and I love it, and it's curbed the way I think. In fact, I wonder if you'll agree with this. When people visit Italy, I always give them three pieces of advice. One, ask the police where they eat. Everybody else, the taxi drivers, major D's, everybody else gets paid. The police, they don't care. They'll tell you local places. Uh,
Exactly.
two, uh, two is, always drink the local wine. It's much better than anything in a bottle. It's less expensive. And three, if the menus are in English, try go with the Italian ones that are in Italian. And even better, if it's up on a chalkboard and it's written in Italian, that means it's even fresh. So I give them those three pieces. What do you think?
Really, it's true. These are super correct. When it's in English and when the menu has pictures,
Right.
go away. This is total for tourists. If you go to Venice, or you know what, in Venice, even if you are Italian, you get cheated. You
Right.
have to be Veneziano and speak, so people from Venice Island, not even from
Right. The mainland.
the
Yeah.
land, and speak Veneziano dialect. If you don't know that, or if you happen to know some real Veneziano, just ask them where to go, because everywhere else you will pay a ton, like, and eat terribly. So
Right.
you want to look for those things. Yeah, never ask taxi driver, never ask hotels where to
Right.
go eating. Or maybe you can stop somebody, on the street and
Mm,
ask them. Italians love to give advice to
right.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, they give advice even if you don't want it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. They and talk about the language. I mean, Napolitano, which my father speaks, is so different. After the war, my grandmother took my uncle, my aunt, and my father to Lugano, to Switzerland. They were scared of getting drafted. So in Lugano, they speak quite proper Italian. It's what I get, in universities here. Sometimes I would speak in Napolitan, and my professor, Giuseppe, voglio strangolare, I'm going to strangle you. If you see, that's not how you speak, and it's just so different. I mean, here in the States, we kind of have accents and some phrases, but really, it's really different there, the way the dialects are. It's fascinating and wonderful.
Yeah, because Italy was united a little bit more than 100 years ago. Before that, it was like in the Middle Ages, we had this city that were states, independent states. And this
Mm,
is why, if I'm from Bologna, and a very close town is Modena, where the Ferrari is built.
yes.
It's half an hour by car, totally different mentality. You
Mm,
go for and totally different food and everything, because
mm,
here we had the Pope. There they had some other signoria and other people that were governing. Then Naples was a totally different story with the
yeah.
Bourbon. So all those dialects were proper languages. And as a matter of fact, Italy as one, is so small. It's less united than the United States. Even
Mm.
though we are a single country with only one state, we still are this campanilism. You say that, the campanile. So how do you say campanilism in English? Campanilismo.
Capitalism? No,
No,
campanismo.
campanilismo. So you, the campanile,
Oh,
the
your
tower, the
friends.
bell.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably there is no word in
Yeah,
English.
there might
So we
not.
had, the churches have the bell tower. So we say, this is my campanile, this is my bell tower, and I stand from my city. Then I
Mm.
hate my neighbor. And this is everywhere. So we are united, but we are not united. So languages and dialects are totally different. And there are some places in Italy where we do not speak dialect at home, like in Emilia, in Bologna, we don't do it. In the south, they do it very much. In the deep north, they do it very much. And you know why? The sign to understand if you are one of them is when they start speaking dialect with you.
Ah, yes. Then you know you've made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And where my father's from, most of them know my name, but I'm pretty much Paul's son, Filio Paolucci,
Hmm.
when I leave the village where I'm not known, then they speak right proper Italian. They could just tell. You could just look. I remember we had a rental car, and we put a little scratch on it, and we went into the city there, and my father and uncle said, "Okay, Joe, you go in the cafe. We're gonna go into the garage and get this fixed because once they see you, they'll triple the price." So
Yeah.
the American, you're not going to come, so they can just tell. So you just have to, yeah, you just have to be careful there. But it's oh my goodness, you're making me reminisce. My father's there now. He's not doing well. He's ill. I hope we get to travel there this summer. I guess we'll see. Angelo Santi, what motivates you?
Ha. What motivates me in my life or in my business?
Both.
Both. So I am very much motivated by discovering, by exploring. And this is why I've always been a globetrotter, traveling all over the world, um, and connecting with people. So what I do now, I think, as for living, for a business, is a way to explore human beings and
Hmm.
to take them on a trip to where they want to go, to to their destination. So it's for me, really connecting is amazing. I could connect all day long
Mm,
and help people, and yeah, and help people, do things, reach goals, and be of service. Inspiring. I love inspiring people.
yeah, you could tell the joy that you get from it. And how do you measure success?
Success for me is really everyday success, I would say, because I like to, to do I do something that lights me up?
Hmm.
Did I make the difference for somebody? This is, for me, this is success. And it's also the freedom to do whatever I like to do.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And does La Dolce Vita, the movement, does it have? I mean, does it have certain motivations? I mean, I would think just the movement wants people to live in it so it can grow and it can prosper and it could help people. I mean, is it its own entity? Do you look at it that way?
Yeah, I really am starting to think of the Dolce Vita like as a movement,
Hmm.
because the more I talk about it, the more I understand that it can impact the world. So La Dolce Vita really wants people to be happy, to
Hmm.
be accomplished, to live in alignment with who they are, inside, with their value. And if you think about it, what are we looking for? What are we here for? To be happy, to do whatever, at the end of our journey, what we want to say, we were happy, we were accomplished, whatever it means for every one of us, and it's different for every one of us. So I think that La Dolce Vita is like something positive that is springing now, because now it's the time where we most need to be again committed and lighthearted, to incorporate those two opposites, like those that seems to be polarized, but they are not.
Mm.
Because when you bring joy to what you do it in a joyful way, so bringing more La Dolce Vita inside what you do is can really be game changer.
So the questions I asked you about what motivates you and how do you measure success, I think La Dolce Vita movement itself has answers to those questions. I think it wants to grow. I think it wants to better society. If society is better, you know, we all benefit from that.
Yes. Yeah. And I think there is something for everyone. And I'm one of the persons who really believes that this old paradigm of getting and other
Hmm.
people being left outside is gone. The more we can create something that is self generative, and
Hmm.
that create prosperity for everyone, and yeah, and that can open up for everyone, opportunities and whatever.
Very well said. Well, Angela Santi, what a wonderful pleasure speaking with you today. Piacere. And so
Piacere.
how do we get in touch with you?
So two ways. One, you go to my website, www.angelasanti, like Italy, or and go to my LinkedIn profile and connect with me. Follow me, send me messages. I love connecting and I love chatting with everyone. So this is it, and I'm looking forward to connect.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. I'll make sure to put those in the show notes. I want to thank you so much. If I get my family to get out there this summer, perhaps we can get together, have some of that cappuccino you talked about.
Yes, we meet halfway.
Yes,
Yes, and it's gonna be an amazing place. Yeah, an amazing. Yes, we do that. Let's schedule some cappuccino. Please reach out. It would be fun and honoring for me to meet in person.
absolutely. And we will continue to help La Dolce Vita grow and prosper.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much again. You be well. And it's evening there, so buonasera.
Yeah. Buonasera, buona serata, and for you, buona continuazione of your day. Have a great day. Buona giornata.
Buona giornata. Grazie, grazie. Ciao.
Grazie a te.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations.